Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna to everybody. Just a minute. So thank you very much for coming this afternoon or evening. My name is Raghunath bhatt. I come from South Africa. I was here on Saturday last week. I think some of you were here. Oh yes, only one or two I could see. You were here. Anybody else here last week Saturday? Yeah. Okay. So we got. It was a last minute call, so there was no real topic. So we'll decide on the topic as we move along, or what we should discuss. What are your interests? Are many of your students here, or most of you are working or finished college? College? College, yeah. Working, huh? You? Working, huh? College?
College.
What are you studying?
First year I'm BCom.
BCom. Anybody else studying?
College.
What are you studying?
Engineering.
Engineering. College? What are you studying?
Masters in Chemistry.
Chemistry, eh? You have to be careful of chemistry. Yeah. Anyway, Master of Chemistry. That's very nice. Actually, it's a very difficult course. I go to universities every 3 days a week, so they find it very tough to finish that, especially chemistry. They fail most of the time. Most of the time, yeah. Anybody else study? What do you study?
BCA.
What was that mean?
Bachelor of Computer Application.
Oh, computer application. Huh? Anybody else? Engineering, computers. So different things you are studying. So what are your other interests? Spiritually, what you like? You are chanting many rounds, I think. I don't ask you how many, but 16 rounds is good. But if you bring any amount of rounds is also good. Well, what do you like in Krishna consciousness? Anything?
Prasadam.
Prasadam. So in many temples around the world, and it's like probably not so applicable in India. In India, people are more respectful to Vedic culture. But in other parts of the world, people come just in time for the prasadam. So they would come in time for the prasadam and just take the prasadam and leave, because they feel the lecture is boring, it's too long. It's probably, see, when you have a varied audience, the interests are different. That's why I'm asking you what your interests are, because there was no topic given for today. So therefore we want to know what your interests are, because people are bored. There may be different reasons why they may have no interest. So what the devotees in America used to do, they should change the prasadam. They should serve it before the sing. So the person will think, no, now they'll come early, so then they should serve it after the lecture, the following week. So they were like changing it, because people would just take the prasadam and go away. So one of the universities where Srila Prabhupada came was in Durban University of Durban, Westville, in 1975 in South Africa. And there was a professor, his name was Professor Bonafide. He was an Afrikaner. We could talk about him later. But there was one boy, he used to come, and he should just come for the sweet and go away. He was studying law. So he just take the sweet and he go away. He just come in time. So after a few times he came, then finally, he had to go to the courthouse, for practice and things like that. So our temple was building on the top, and the courthouse was in the bottom, like that. And gradually he got more interested, and he became a full-time devotee. It's an interesting way how he joined. And he gave up his profession. It's been like about the devotee for about 39 years. 39 years probably, 1 year more than me. I'm 38 years in the book. So like that, we have different interests. So what will be our topic tonight? Would you like to ask questions, or I can answer, or should we discuss something?
You can discuss and further we can take the question.
Anything?
Both.
Okay. So you're not practicing, so maybe we should talk about the nectar of instruction then. That'll be interesting. We'll do some verses from the nectar of instruction. Let's look at text number. Okay, let's look at text 1. This is shared to the people also, right? They can also watch it, Vacha vegam manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam udaro pasta vegam. Etan vegam yo visaya tatira, sarvam apimam pritisam pritibim sasisya. So this verse, a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So it's very interesting. It talks about sense control. And one of the things about, especially in India, when you talk about spirituality, people know that you've got to do something with not enjoying. Isn't it? He's a sadhu, don't you? So it's about, just like, when we go to places where people are, enjoying themselves in liquor stores and things like that, when they see us, they get uncomfortable. Because we naturally, our senses are controlled. So it's talking about how somebody becomes sober. Which verse in the Gita reminds you about somebody sober? Let's see if you can remember. There's a verse in the 2nd chapter. It's text number 13, I think. Let's see, 2:13. Yeah. See this verse? Dehi asmin yatade he kaumunum yavanum jana tatadyantra prapti dhirastatra namoyate. So somebody is dhira, somebody is a sober person. So the embodied soul continuously passes this body from boyhood to youth to old age. The soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So somebody is sober is not disturbed by the change of bodies. You get it? Like even you have this understanding about death, and then there's a lot to do about death. Our scriptures deal with death. But to understand death, one has to become sober. Now, sober doesn't mean that the first person took intoxication the previous night and the next day he's sober. He's not drinking. It doesn't mean that. It means that he's sober, that he can understand that the body is changing, but he doesn't change. So going back to our verse on the nectar of instruction, so it's talking about a sober person. And if a sober person can control his senses, if he can control his senses, then what happens to him? He can make disciples all over the world. But the thing is, he has to deal with anger, the mind's demands. Anger. How's your anger issues? How's it called anger issues? How angry do you get? Often. Why do you get angry? So you see, because when your senses are controlled, it's like, like the Bhagavad Gita explains that verse in the second chapter again. It talks about the tortoise. See, the tortoise, it only uses its senses when it wants to eat, and then it withdraws it. So it only uses it for a particular purpose that is required for. Otherwise it's withdrawn. So a devotee's senses should be like that. He shouldn't be worried about what's going on in, the movie industry, or if you're interested in that. What other interests you have, cricket or something like that. No, his senses are withdrawn. So the actions of anger, one has to really control his senses. So the tongue, the belly and the genitals are in a straight line. So if one can control the tongue, then he can control the belly, and then he can control the genitals. So if he cannot control the tongue, then there's trouble. Just like how often you got angry with somebody, and then you later on, in hindsight or retrospect, you realize later on that I shouldn't have said that. How often is that? So what we are proposing is that you give up anger. Is that what we meant to do? No, because anger is required. But it has its place. Like if somebody is coming to attack you, you're going to tell him, no, I'm a devotee of Hare Krishna devotee. I don't want to do anything to you more. No, you're going to be angry and you're going to fight back. So the whole Bhagavad Gita is about anger. So there was one person, I think it was one white person who had joined Prabhupada, probably in India, Gorakhpur, in that area. And the person said, Prabhupada, he was very happy with the devotees, they're so peaceful and they don't get angry. And Prabhupada, like the Acharya, he said, but what's wrong with anger? Did anybody say you something wrong with anger? Because Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it's all about anger. It's a fight. So there's nothing really wrong with anger, but how it is utilized. Just like if the army goes and kills 500 or 5,000 people, and they were sanctioned to kill so many people, when they come back, will Modi be upset with them? No, he'll give them a medal. Isn't it? Because it's authorized. So anger has its place, and depending on situations, you can use anger. The urges of the tongue, this is talking about, you're like prasada. So it talks about prasada there. And we'll quickly go to that. And then he talks about the belly and the genitals also. I will speak a little about that. But he's talking about Maharaj Parikshit, which is, and I will read a few lines because this is very interesting. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Sukadeva Goswami. One of these questions was, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for stealing, and he may actually even see another thief arrested by the police, yet he continues to steal. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing, and one who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing. When an intelligent person hears from the law books and sastras, the scriptures, that stealing is not good and hears that the thief is punished when arrested, he refrains from theft. A less intelligent person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will once again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail. So it's talking about atonement. What's the meaning of atonement? You know what's atonement? Do you know what's atonement?
Urges to do something? Urges?
Yeah. It's like, for example, it's like you go to church and you ask for forgiveness that you won't do such a thing again. You atone for it. In the Christian tradition, they call it like atonement, but in Sanskrit it's called prayaschita, atonement. So you beg for forgiveness and you don't do it. You'll never do it again. You come to the Hare Krishna temple, you stand before the deities, and you promise to the Sita, Ram, Lakshmana, and Hanuman. That's the most favorite deities recently. So you go there and you say, well, I'm not going to do this again. But as soon as you go outside, you do the same thing again. So it's talking here about, the question is raised by Maharaj Parikshit to Sukadev Goswami, that how is it that, and I'll read it. Parikshit Maharaj compared atonement to an elephant's bathing. The elephant may be it may take a very nice bath in the river, but as soon as he comes onto the bank, he throws dirt all over its body. What then is the value of bathing? See, an elephant when it goes in the water and it comes out and then it goes in the mud. So you may do something wrong and then you come and beg for forgiveness and then you go on doing it again. Because it's not possible just through your own efforts to overcome this. So here it's talking about, and now it's the moot point, it's the important point. It's about us. So similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant the Hare Krishna mantra. You all do, right? And at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that the chanting will counteract their offenses. Of the 10 offenses one can commit while chanting the holy name of the Lord, this offense here, which is committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord, it's very bad. It's one of the worst. So maybe we're chanting Hare Krishna, but we're just as good as the elephant that is bathing in the water and rolling in the dust. So you know the 10 offenses? You know the first one, right? First one, anybody? To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. So then those offenses you should avoid. Otherwise, you'll be like that elephant that bathes and rolls in the dirt. How that sounds? Any questions so far? You can ask me any questions as we move along. We may not have the time today. Any comments or questions? Yes.
What are the 10 offenses?
What is an offense?
What are the 10 offenses?
Yeah, the 10 offenses.
Yes.
Maybe we should pick it up here and we display. There's 10 offenses we recite every morning to blaspheme the devotees of dedicated life for propagating the holy name of the Lord, to consider him of demigods, to be equal or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. We'll pick it up and put it up. And we can go through it. Just like many of you are coming from Hindu backgrounds, and you may worship some devata also. Isn't anybody still worshipping anybody else besides Krishna? It's okay. But is anybody doing this? Everybody still worships Krishna. So yeah. So these 10 offenses, you have to know it. And then you have to try to avoid them. Like the very, very important offense is to be inattentive while chanting. You've got your reed bag and you're chanting, and then the phone rings. And then you have to attend to the phone. Then you have to be busy with your other finger. Isn't it? So you have to leave the phone somewhere far away. Yeah, so that you have to avoid. So these are things. So inattention is the worst. Because if you're inattentive, it gives rise to all the other offenses. When you're not attentive, then all the other offenses manifest or flourish. Okay? Yes.
Just like the elephant, when he bathes and again goes to the dust. So I'm comparing to myself that I come to the temple, I chant, and then I go home, and then I lost in my world. So when will that chain break? When will that I will realize that I will not doing this wrong.
Okay, so you may go home and you chant nicely, and then you go home and then everything is over. So see, it requires some determination, some effort. Whatever you do, you study,
Yes, I do.
you finish, right? How you finish your studies? Because you had a determination to finish it. So you must, in the same way, you have to have the determination to improve yourself spiritually and do it every day. But if you're having challenges, it could be many things that that you have these challenges, many reasons. It could be like your work environment. You can give so many reasons, but all those reasons are not good reasons. Like I'll give you an example. Once Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture, and he gave a very moving lecture. So one devotee went to him and said, Prabhupada, he gave a very powerful lecture. It was like he was appreciating the class, the lecture. And then the devotee and Prabhupada, acknowledged it. And then Prabhupada asked, and what did the other devotees think? He said, Srila Prabhupada, practically all the others were asleep when you were speaking. So Srila Prabhupada didn't do anything at that point, but later he was speaking in another, in another situation. So all the other devotees were asleep. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was giving another lecture, he went. He brought that point up. Is it okay? Sorry, we're just connecting again. So he brought the point up, It's okay, no? Okay, Hare Krishna, those people joining us live, sorry about that. We had some technical problems. Can we make it bigger?
Anyway, it's too small. I think it's very bigger. No, font was
Okay. Alright, then, so Srila Prabhupada was speaking, and then he asked the people, he asked the devotees, while they were sleeping, and whilst the lecture is on, and they all gave different reasons. They ate too late in the night, too much prasadam, they were too tired, they gave different reasons. And Prabhupada said all those reasons are not good enough. And he said the only time you won't fall asleep is when you know that Krishna consciousness is the most important thing for you. Then you won't sleep. Oh, that's a good answer, Because once you're convinced that is the most important, then only you will not sleep. Otherwise you will sleep. So yeah. So that is a good. You may have different challenges, but you get determination, and determination comes from associating with people who are sincere. So when you associate with sincere people who's following this, then you'll naturally follow it. That's one of the ways to overcome it. Okay? But we can talk more about it separately. I can give you some pointers. If you tell me the exact problem, then I don't want to ask you in front of everybody. Okay? Alright. Then it's talking about that type of atonement, and but prayaschitta, see, the person will always do it again. Like you have in your own life, you're also doing the same thing. You come and then you go back home and you do some other things. But bhakti, when you engage in devotional service, it gets down to the root of the problem. Get it? It goes to the heart. And the mind is in the region of the heart. Where is it? The region of the heart. So therefore, when you talk about cleaning the heart, means cleansing the mind. That's what it means. Okay? So you clean your heart. So this, when you take the devotional service, it uproots all those seeds you have. See that seed of apathy and don't want to do things and all. It removes it. That's what Krishna consciousness do. But if you do atonement, the seed still remain. You go ask for forgiveness, the seed remains, but the seed must be burnt out. That's what it's talking about here. So then again it goes on to speak about the power. The first one must control his speaking power. Speaking power. So speaking, everybody likes speaking. How many people like talking? You talk a lot? I see almost everybody on a cell phone in the streets, and they're talking for hours on end. When you're walking around, you see people just talking. What are they talking about? Huh? Gossiping.
Basically a materialistic thing. Whatever they are discussing, so most of them are discussing about the materialistic thing.
Material things, huh? So yes. So it's like, and Prabhupada compares that like a snake, like a frog is croaking, but the frog is calling the snake to come and eat it. So that's what it is. So you're calling death. That's what's happening. So we also have to control the speech. But the best way is talking right at the bottom, they say, by contrast, the controlled speech advocated by Rupa Goswami is the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging the speaking process in glorifying the Supreme Lord Krishna. So the process of overcoming this is by hearing about Krishna. Any questions about Soka? So there's also, some people practice Maunam Vrat. You know Maunam Vrat? They don't speak. So not speaking is not good also. But you must speak. Speaking Krishna consciousness is silence. That's silence. But don't artificially practice silence or maunam vrat. Artificially. That's not good. Okay? So then it's talking about the mind and anger. Anger. Come back to anger. Now we said there's nothing wrong with anger, depending how it's utilized, because the whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken. It's about anger. But how is anger, how does anger come? What's the cause of anger? I want to hear from you.
Lust. Lust.
Really?
Is it?
Lust. So how many of you have enemies? You all have some enemies? Somebody you don't like. They are not your enemy. You know who's your enemy? Well, yeah. Let's see. Let's read Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, 36, I think. 36 and 37. See what he says in 36? See, your question again comes here. Arjuna said, O descendant of Vishnu, but what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? Like sometimes you don't want to do certain things. You just don't want to, you're following to some extent. You're controlled in your senses. But sometimes it beats you, right? You're like thinking, hey, when can I talk to this person? When can I do this? When can I do that? But he's talking, it's by force. So sometimes we engage in sinful acts, but we really don't want to do it. So what's the cause of that? And in thinking of your enemy, the next verse, Krishna answers, he says, it is lust only, O Arjuna, which is born of the contact with the material mode of passion and later transform into wrath, meaning anger. This word means anger. And which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So you only have one enemy, and he's always with you. That is lust. We do seminars sometimes, we do a seminar on transforming love into lust, from lust into love. So lust, and that is the only enemy that we have. So going back to the lecture of instruction, you must read this book. Anybody who wants to become a sincere devotee must read this verses especially the first 4 verses. And if you study these first 4 verses and you apply it in your life, you will improve tremendously. The first 4 verses. So it's talking about, we're talking about anger. Krodha, anger. And there's many examples. But then, we speak a little bit about the genitals. It says, in a similar manner, the urges of the genitals, the sex impulse can be controlled when not used unnecessarily. The genitals should be used to beget Krishna-conscious child. Otherwise, they should not be used. The Krishna-consciousness movement encourages marriage not for the satisfaction of the genital, but for the begetting of Krishna-conscious children. As soon as the children are a little grown up, they are sent to our Gurukul school, where they are trained to become fully Krishna-conscious devotees. Many such Krishna-conscious children are required, and one who is capable of bringing forth Krishna-conscious offspring is allowed to utilize his genitals. So we're not against that, but what we're saying is that you're more regulated. Get it? needs to have children, then he can engage in sex life. Then they speak about, there's a lot of verses speaking about literatures that you read. I don't know what type of, anybody who like reading? What do you like? Who like reading? What you like reading? What books you read?
Spiritual books.
Only? Before?
I used to read novels. J.K. Rowling.
I also like to read, but like before coming into the spirituality, I've learned this thing: rich dad, poor dad, how to become millionaire, so this type of book. And self-growth book, but in context with materialism.
Yeah, so those is compared like for crows. Crows are not good birds. It's not very good. But when you're reading the spiritual literature, it's like compared to like swans, The swan is very attractive, You know what swans are very beautiful, graceful, when they're swimming. They're very attractive. So reading, like these type of literatures, you must avoid. Yeah. Mundane literature, it's talking about. Try to give up that. You'll have problems giving that up, or you're always looking at the phone, something coming up there. Who's crossing the floor from Congress Party to BJP or different things, Is it? Yeah, what you're reading about. So it's mundane literature, so it affects you. Okay? See, it says here, on the other hand, that literature which is full of description of the transcendent glories of the name, form, fame, pastime, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words, directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious life of the world's misdirected civilization. Now this is very important. Listen to this. Such transcendent literatures, even though imperfectly composed, even if it's not correctly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So in our country we had, we have African people, and it's not easy to preach to them spiritual life. So I met one African doctor, and he is now in Canada, and we should preach to him regularly. So somehow he got attracted to it, and then he decided to translate one of Prabhupada's books into the African language. And he tried, he translated it. And that's not easy because the language is, especially to give information about Krishna, but he did it. But it was full of errors. There was a lot of errors. And he printed it because not many people could understand the language. And he printed it. And he printed lots, maybe 20, thousands of copies. And then we gave out distributing it, these books, giving it out. But there was one lady who read that book, but it was full of errors. And she read it, another African lady who read it and became a devotee. And then, where she lives in an African township, she made her room like a temple where people come now and worship, and now she's an initiated devotee. So you have to focus on spiritual literature. And Prabhupada says here, this verse in the Bhagavatam, even imperfectly composed, it has that effect. Okay? Any questions so far? Yes?
When a person is under influence of Maya and is also practicing sadhana side by side, but the influence of Maya over him is at such an extent that it is affecting his sadhana. His mind is not getting indulged into it. Like he's not identified to performing the sadhana or chanting the rounds. So because of what can you do to overcome it?
See, the thing is, when somebody is in the initial stage of practice, sadhana bhakti, it's an effort. You know, it's an effort. While he's chanting, he's thinking, hey, you know what? I have to meet that young girl today. You know? Different things you can think. I'm just using that example because it's a good example that people go through. Now you may be thinking, well, you know, okay. And while he's thinking, then he's thinking, where should I go? Then, but he's chanting. The chanting is in the background. His thoughts are in the forefront. Now the thing is he doing the right thing? Now, like I had a person came the other day, he said, but should I count that round? I said, yes, you must count it. I said, because from that 108 beats, one is good. You can't say all is bad. Isn't it? So you are chanting, for example, if there's dust here on the floor and you kind of vacuuming it, you know, cleaning it, then the dust starts coming up. Should you stop the cleaning? No, you don't stop the cleaning, you continue cleaning. You want the dirt to go. So in sadhana bhakti, it's a devotional service in practice. So those deep-rooted anarthas take a while to leave. There's a whole process. You know, it's a long process also. But one of the main things is that you have to acknowledge that I have that problem. See, to have a problem is not a problem. But to acknowledge you have a problem is a problem. That makes sense, right? To say, well, you know, I really got this problem, that's difficult. So when you identify that, you work at that. For example, so what's your challenge, if you'd like to share? When you chanting, what are you thinking of?
Actually, my challenge is not like chanting. Actually, because of the other things, it is affecting my chanting.
Right.
There are other things like people brainwashing about, like telling you wrong things about the
Movement.
the Krishna conscious thing. So sometimes it happens that the faith is there, but because of the information that they give, there is some brainwashing and you're not sure about what you're doing.
So it's not brainwashing. The brainwashing means the brain is getting clean.
Yeah.
So it's not brainwashing. It's making your brain dirty. So because in America, when the devotees joined, then they were accused. Prabhupada was accused of you have this deprogrammers. You know deprogrammers. So they subjected to this whole thing for you to forget Krishna consciousness. They go through a whole process with you and then they called it brainwashing. Prabhupada said that we got no brains. What are we going to wash? They don't have brains. It's not brainwashing. Brainwashing means at least your brain is getting clear. Yes. So if you hear something that's blasphemous, it'll affect your chanting because you're thinking now, is that true? That devotee is like that? Yes, it's like that. Maybe it's like that. I saw something, I noticed something in him because you just heard from somebody. So you start developing in your mind. Therefore, it talks about the whole first verse is talking about the mind. To conquer the mind, control of the mind. So you have to keep bringing it back. And the mind is controlled by air. Do you know that? The mind is controlled by air. Okay, take a deep breath. Breathe in. And release air. What you were thinking when you were breathing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's controlled by air. You get it? So it's controlled by air. It's mentioned there. Like it's a whole. It's in the Bhagavatam. I think it's in the third canto, maybe the third canto. Anybody worship Lord Shiva? Yeah? Next time when I come, I'll talk about Lord Shiva. Huh? have a discussion on Lord Shiva.
Prabhuji,
Yeah?
you just said that mind will be controlled by air.
Yeah.
So in Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned also, like in the ancient time, not in this yuga, the previous yugas, the people were doing this meditation and sadhana
That's
for
right.
a longer period of time by controlling the air within their bodies and everything else. So, but like right in this Kali Yuga also, like you have mentioned, ki we can control our mind through our breath or air. So, but the bhakti is recommended now. Mostly, like we should do bhakti. We should. The main focus is on the bhakti. So, easiest path. So, why you have said that?
Control the mind. Why I said about air? About
Like air thing.
see, yeah. So the thing is, sometimes. Oh, to somebody. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll just answer this question. Those people who are online can ask questions after this. See, the other practice at this age, we just engage in bhakti yoga. And that's it. But control of the mind, it talks about, in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, about Ashtanga yoga, the different types of yoga.
Yes.
It's talking about controlling the breath. So the mind, just like if you want to conquer, if you're having problems to conquer your mind, and you run into anxiety and depression, and these things. So the way to do it is through that Ashtanga process to overcome it. Because anxiety is not an easy thing. Anybody suffer from anxiety? No. All okay. So when you suffer from anxiety, it's not that easy. You can, bhakti is also a practice, but the way to, like the way we help people, although I live in a temple, and we had one girl who was suffering very deeply from anxiety. And she couldn't overcome it. So we had to teach her how to breathe in and breathe out. Keep breathing in and breathing out to calm her down. You get it? You can't do bhakti. Go there, pray to Krishna, because that's what I was looking for now. How, when Lord Shiva was born, he takes residence in different places. When he came from the forehead of Brahma, then he took shelter in the air, in the water, in the waves. This is there. So let me pick it up. You'll get a better understanding of it. I think it's the 3rd canto. Yeah, so for example, it takes shelter into the different planets, even the moon planet. See, when you're angry, you can't breathe. Isn't it? The breathing is affected. The breathing is affected. So it talks about the anger principle. You can read about it later in the Bhagavatam. We don't have much time to go over that thing. But it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam how Lord Shiva pervades all these different places. And how it has an effect on the person. We can read about it maybe some other time, because we don't have that time. So Lord Shiva is even present in the anger principle is present. Just like you have like tidal waves. And they also get angry, the waves. Sometimes they roar. So Lord Shiva is present there. That's how he's present here. So anger, so if one, when people suffer from these type of things, then we calm them down first before we can even talk to them about bhakti yoga. So therefore I was mentioning it. And then you see, like the things you have lots of negative thoughts, and you have this OCD. You know what's OCD? Obsessive compulsive disorder. You have this, you wash your hands every 5 minutes. That's obsessive compulsive disorder. And then you get scared for certain insects or like, what do you call this, ants or things like shooting. So like you start getting fear. That's what anxiety is about. It's a very serious thing. So when they breathe in, they're thinking they have all this bad thought. But as soon as they breathe in, they're not thinking of it. You get it? And the way to change it is, as soon as you're breathing in, so when you take a deep breath, you must immediately try to focus on something positive. You get it? Something positive. Because you've got all negativity in the mind. Get it? So when you focus on the positive, so when you breathe out, your thoughts are all on positive things. So that's what means conquering the mind. When Krishna says, bring the mind back, that's what it means. Get it? You're conquering the mind by changing your consciousness or your thought process. How that sound? Make sense? What do you think? Make sense? Yeah. So therefore, we advise people to do that because people are suffering the number one disease. I go to the university, the students are in anxiety like anything. They're suffering. They have to counsel them on sometimes, but sometimes it can be really draining also. It's a lot of negative energy. And we tell them how to do it, to breathe in, breathe out. That? That one. Breathe in and breathe out to the other nostril. You do that, it also helps. See, when you're chanting, Prabhu, your mind is running away. When your mind is running away, you bring it back. The way you can bring it back is you do some breathing in between. You breathe in, you breathe out, and you chant again. You feel more relaxed. Okay? You try that. But the mind will also, so you don't have to give up what you're doing. If your mind is running away whilst you're engaging in sadhana bhakti, and those negative thoughts are coming in, because you're entertaining it. As long as you're entertaining it, it will cause you problems. So you have to now focus and try to focus on positive things and not on the negative. So that affects your consciousness. Okay? Yes, what is it? What's your name?
Monica.
Yes, Monica.
I've heard so many devotees said that whenever you get angry on little things, or whenever you get absent or you don't feel like doing anything, frustrated or anger or whatever it is, so you have to chant. So chanting, in each and every aspect we cannot do chanting. Suppose a person have a fight in the office, so you can't chant loudly over there. So breathing helps, but the chanting is the main thing.
Yes, you must chant. You see, but if you breathe in nicely in and out and you start chanting, you see actually your chanting is much better. It's much more better. Your mind is more calmer. But chanting is effective at all times. It's effective at all times. Yes, it is.
So we should do meditation or something like that?
Chanting is meditation.
But nowadays the meditation so-called that you are sitting in a quiet place for a longer period of time or for 15-20 minutes and concentrating your breath. So if that also comes in the breathing?
You see, if you're doing that, that's besides the chanting. And if it helps your chanting, it's favorable, do it. But if it's not favorable, you don't have to do it. Some people, not everybody, it's applicable to everybody. Some people are more disturbed, some people are not disturbed. Depending on the person. Does anybody have questions online who would like to ask anything?
It's kind of, they got disconnected or maybe they have a question and answer. Maybe we can proceed.
Okay.
They were asking it a little earlier.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry about that, yeah. Yeah. So the point is that we're talking about, we do what's most favorable for you. Like if sitting and chanting is more favorable for you, you do it. Some people like to walk. But best is to sit. And you can hear yourself. But Prabhupada also walked and chanted. He did that also, but best, first is sitting, then walking. But what's most favorable for you? Is that okay? Anything else? A few minutes. Mataji, Prabhus? Yes.
Prabhuji, I just want to know from your experience, like when you are in South Africa, where people don't know who is Krishna, and in India what happens, everyone knows the Krishna but they don't know Krishna. So what was your experience in the preaching then, and what's the challenges we face in India, usually face in book distribution, that they are not accepting the Krishna is the supreme, and where you are doing preaching where it is completely they are unaware. So what was your strategies, or what was your teaching ideas that we can apply in India also? That will be helpful for us.
You see, India, whenever we meet people, Indian people, they know everything. Isn't it? They know everything. We know everything. Yeah, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. They don't even know the mantra, right? Isn't it? In the train, once I was traveling from Puri, 36-hour journey or something, and I was preaching to an Indian boy. He couldn't get it. Maybe for like about 10 hours, I'm talking to the fellow, I'm talking to him about Krishna. And he was going to get a job in the government or somewhere. He was going to do some government service. He got a new job. So he said his father had some attraction to Bhagavad Gita. And then I didn't tell him much, and then at some point I just I told him, anyway, now finish, done. Then he said, you know what, give me that beads. I want to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. When he took the beads to that journey, he got the message, he started chanting. See, all the people born in India are very fortunate. Anybody born in India is very fortunate. I was discussing it the last time. He's a pious soul. So, see, you're close to Krishna, but they're running away from Krishna. The foreigners are running towards Krishna. You all are running away from Krishna. But see, therefore Prabhupada went to the West and he made these Westerners devotees, and he brought them to India to show them, hey, you're not following your culture. See, to bring foreigners like us to speak to you. I'm also a foreigner. See? So yeah, but you're very, very fortunate. So you have that problem, they don't understand, but still that they are very pious. And within that piety, they will have some respect. So sometimes, you think if they don't take a book, so they're not interested. And they don't know about God because due to so much contamination over the years, more religions, so many different things, it's got covered. But Prabhupada is now this will be our last question. We had time. Okay. So yeah. So then, it got covered. So he went to the West. He brought the dancing white elephants and made them dance here, and then the people started becoming conscious. But the thing is, they may have a little respect for the sadhu, and the little respect for the sadhu is their advancement in Krishna consciousness. That's the beginning for them. Because they have that respect, even for me, if I'm on the train now, the people are uncomfortable, I was traveling from Jain to here to Mumbai. And they can't eat anything, they can't, they can see me, I'm just always like this. Wherever I go, I'm just my dhoti and kurta. They don't use anything else. So they're uncomfortable because they know. So that is their advancement. That is the beginning of their devotion. So it's not necessarily they may take a book, they may not show so much interest, but they know that this person is saintly. But in the West, that's not the case. In other parts of the world, it's a little lot different. And then they may not appreciate compared to India. So you'll have this type of problem. How do you deal with it? How do you? I mean, do they want to buy the books or they want to?
Yeah, some of them are just like doing debate upon Krishna and other demigods and all. Like some of them are not agreeing. So like that only.
Yeah, but you see, the point is, even if they get upset and they don't agree, you must know your preaching is having effect. As soon as they get upset, too, is away. My preaching is effective because of affecting this guy. You get it? You look at it like in a negative way, but you have to look at it positively, that he's getting agitated. He knows it's it's affecting him. It's positive. See, that's how I look at it. When somebody's getting upset, I'm like, good, this is what we want. You know, I've been a book distributor for a long time. You know, I printed books, I distributed books. You know, I've been doing this for many, many years. But it's wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. You know, it's always wonderful. I can tell you so many book distribution stories, but some other time. But it's a wonderful experience. But giving the literature means giving knowledge to the person. See, I think more and more India is leading in terms of Krishna consciousness in the world. Because people are becoming devotees. They are, you know, in different parts of the world, different parts of India. I've been traveling around. You can see that they're taking to it. You know? Like I chatted to one girl, one day I was just out here, one with the Govindas is there. I told her, in 1 minute, I told her, you should give this up. I'm a foreigner, but you're in India. Come here. You should give up this bad habits. And you should become a devotee. And she said, okay, I will do it. So another devotee was standing there, you know, Advaita Hari was standing there, Abhinav. This for the one devotee. He said, no, the Giriraj Maharaj is there, or take it to Giriraj Maharaj, took it there. And to Giriraj Maharaj. And in that few minutes, she surrendered to Krishna. She's here, right out here. She's coming to see me when I come back from Pune, she'll come to see me. But in a minute. So that you cannot get in the West. That you can get in India. Isn't it? That you can get here. Okay. That makes sense, right? So they're pious, you know, so they can take to it. There's no loss. Sorry, yeah?
Yes, Prabhuji, in India, sometimes when we are preaching others, the other person starts to preach us. So
Yeah.
what should you do?
But you must always control the conversation. Stop. This is what it is. Stop. You have to control the conversation. You have to turn it around. They talk about so many winding things. Like this, what the grandfather did, this is what the scripture. They will even make a story of when they will create something in the scripture, but it's not there. You have that problem, isn't it? You don't know this is what in the scripture. It's not there. You get it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so you get all types of people. Like in South Africa, we had a problem. Yeah, they say, no, I got the book. So I said, okay, you got the book, bring the book and come. If we go to their homes, so bring the book and come. So then now they go looking for the book. Because we don't give them a chance, they don't bring the book. So one day, one lady said, no, my husband is bathing. I said, okay, I'll wait for him. And I'm patient, I sat up. I'm sitting there. After a while, the man comes out, about 20-30 minutes he came. I'm so sorry. He came, I said, you got Bhagavad Gita? I said, yeah, I'll go bring him back. He went, looking, another 10 minutes gone. He comes after, it's a very old Bhagavad Gita by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He bought that in 1972. And he's showing me the Bhagavad Gita. I was shocked. opening and I'm reading to him from Bhagavad Gita. Asked him, what you do? Here I'm a butcher, I cut meat. I go, what's your name? He my name is Ram. So, you know, there's different types of people. But it was like favorable. But yeah, it's amazing. Like one lady, I was preaching to another lady. We took we put a lot of books in libraries. Libraries, we bring Bhagavatam set. So the man read about us, so he phoned me, he said, can you come to our house? I'm very interested in what you're doing. I said, okay, we went to his house. I went to another man, he opened the box, I started preaching to him about Bhagavatam. On one side, this and that and everything. The man is absorbed. The wife is not there, thank God. But anyway, the wife was at the top, I didn't know. She was upstairs. So this man, I almost got him now to give me the money for the books. It's quite a sum. The lady come running from the top. He said, no, we got all these books, we got everything. We got everything. I said, okay, all right, we got everything. And she said, no, I know everything. And then she said to me, your people, amongst many things, when we make prasad, you don't like to eat. That's true. But anyway, like they make things, if they're worshipping the devatas, so we may not eat certain things. Right? I said, true. Anyway, who told you we don't eat? Who told you that? Then she said, no, I know you don't eat. I said, okay, then go bring something, I will eat. Now let me tell you, this lady had nothing to offer. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I went into the kitchen, I'm standing in the kitchen. I went in the kitchen and I said, we need to eat something, we will make something. You can give us anything. Anyway, she had one date. This was the best date she ever had. One date. She took the date and I can bring it. I brought it, I offered it to the scripture, I'm offering it to Krishna in front of her. I cut it up. And can you take this now? This is prasad. And she ate that. And then she's looking at me. And can you see what a lesson Krishna has taught you in your own house? Now the husband is crying, he's holding the Bhagavatam and he's crying. He was like overwhelmed by these books. But then, anyway, the conversation had to end, and she's still, adamant, no, she won't take it. But then, after some 10, 15 years of research, that man came to the temple. And he said, when he came to my house, he met the other man who was with me. Didn't meet me, met the other guy. He said, you remember you came to the, yes, we remember coming there. And he came to the temple and he said, he's vegetarian and he's trying this thing, So it works. But you have to be straightforward with them. You have to control the conversation. They'll start preaching to you, no, it's like this, it's like that, and give you some Mayavad philosophy, But you have to control the conversation. Yeah, a little bit. Stop, right. Show me where it's in the book, scriptures. Where? Can you show me? You can't show you. Okay, let me show you what's in the scripture. This is what's here. Like I went to another discussion. It was a Mayavadi gathering with all sadhus. And a whole lot of sadhus sitting there. And I didn't know that you have to do presentation. Everybody got theses, So I didn't know that because I just went like a substitute, like tonight. So I went like a substitute there. And I listened to everybody all talking all kind of nonsense. But I made a note of it, what they're talking about. So I took out my Bhagavad Gita. I said, that person was talking about this. That other guy, he was talking about this point. You get it? So I'm correcting them with the scripture. So I couldn't say anything. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, this is what Lord Krishna is saying. There's all Mayavadi sannyasis there. So then, but anyway, then one young lady who accompanied me with another child, So they were very affected by this whole move there. So I asked one young boy, a young girl, who are you? The girl said, I am God. So then they said, I'm God. That affected these two devotees very badly. It's like it cracked their heart. So they were crying. They couldn't accept that. So then I was a little worried. Then I wrote to my spiritual master, and I wrote to him about this thing, what I was speaking on, what I did to this Mayavadis, and how I dealt with them. And he said, you must not go for all these things. This is not good. I was a substitute. That is when there was nobody to go. The person couldn't make it. But then, when later on reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that when a person hears that the jiva, the individual, the living entity, and the Supreme Lord is one, it breaks the heart of a devotee. So therefore, it's not good in this environment. So you must know when to cut your conversation also. Like if the fellow is, if he's so far away, you can't bring him closer. You have to assess quickly, this fellow I can give time, that fellow I can't give very much time. Prabhupada give the example that if a person, like there's two soldiers, this guy is badly injured, and this guy is not so badly injured. If I give this person attention, he'll die. So who should I give the attention to? To the other fellow who can, you can survive because he's a little bit okay. So similarly, when you're meeting people in the battlefield in India, so you decide, this fellow I should give more time, that fellow I'll give more. Don't give my body 2 hours, uninterested fellow. Is that okay? Makes sense, right? Yeah. I have lots of experiences in this thing. Yes?
Prabhuji, what does the sincerity means? Sincerity is equals to discipline, or sincerity is like, for example, if anyone is doing the chanting and reading and associating with devotees, so they are not doing on a particular time. Because discipline means that we are doing that particular activity at that point of time.
Yeah.
So what does it mean actually? If we are completing our 16 rounds whole day and next day also we are completing our rounds, we are completing, but we are not completing on that specific time. We are doing the things but not on the specific time.
Sure.
So what does the sincerity mean?
So I'll tell you what Prabhupada's definition of sincerity means. Prabhupada's definition of sincerity means following all the rules and regulation, no matter how big or small. That means sincerity. That's his definition. Following all the rules and regulation, no matter how big or small, that is sincerity in Prabhupada's vocabulary. Now, the thing that you're raising is that you spread your chanting over a period of time is as good as the other person chanting all 16 rounds one time. Right? It is as good as that, depending on the circumstances. Like your circumstances may be, you got a lot of work to do. Then you may have to postpone your chanting for a later time. But you're not chanting, you are chanting. So you are a sincere person. There's still sincerity, but the benefits of chanting in the Brahma Muhurta hour is more benefit. That's the difference. But you can chant later, like sometimes I have to do a call, a Zoom call or something, then I have to suspend my chanting and then chant later. But it's best to chant in the morning. Is that okay? You'll find Krishna consciousness interesting? We didn't get to the prasadam time. Next time we'll talk about prasadam and how you're supposed to eat and how much you must eat and when to eat and how to eat, yeah? Were you going to say something? Okay. Anything else? We can close up then. We can talk if I'm moving around. We're just sitting there so for a while. We can have prasadam, yeah?
Yes.
Huh?
So we have prasadam here only. So after we can move chair behind and you can sit here and we take prasadam. So first of all, we would like to thank Raghunath bhatt Prabhu for sharing his wonderful experiences. So yeah. Okay, chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Rama. So I think he's there for some more time, so we'll ask him to give him some more association to us.
Yeah. But see what the interests are. You can talk on a topic what your interests are. Okay? That is important. Yeah.